that's I think what you've been talking about with just giving something entertaining that'll delight people and make it shareable. Is that Andrew letting us know where he is?
No, he's saying carry on.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Okay, he's doing a good job. Everyone, welcome to Windbound After Hours. Today we've got a subject I'm personally really interested in. I know you guys are. We've had a lot of brainstorming sessions. It's around episodic video. So I would like to kick it off and kind of explain what episodic video is. Ricky, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So I guess like what we're all kind of used to with Netflix and Amazon and stuff, but from a business perspective, a lot of companies are producing binge-worthy content for their audience to consume, not necessarily aimed at fueling the funnel or driving leads directly, but more around creating brand awareness and I guess affinity or brand affection or whatever you want to call it. It's a really exciting, I guess, kind of new thing that people are going through, and the guys at Wistia seem to be pioneering that sort of playbook and trying to own that space. Yeah,
I'm going to touch on that in a second, but before we do, Paul, is you in agreement what Ricky said about episodic video? Do you see it slightly different, or?
No, I think it's ties with two things: how people are consuming your content anyway, away from work. So Netflix and short posts in social, and same thing sort of linked to it is like shorter attention spans in terms of content, especially visual content. I think it suits that habit and attention span in the same time. So like you might watch an hour long drama on Netflix and then another one and then another one, and that's an hour long, but that habit of the next installment coming, I think it's just tapping into that user habit really.
Okay, it's that stories within stories, isn't it? And the cliffhangers. Human intervention. We want to see what happens next. And reading a blog on Netflix, most people consume a full series at once or in big chunks. But like you say, you can watch it.
There was a box set we started watching recently that was only released. They were only putting it on the player once it came on the Wednesday night, and it felt wrong.
Yeah, that's quite 2 years ago sort of thing, isn't it? Or 3 years even.
So like when you go on the Wistia series you mentioned, they've launched it with all episodes ready.
Yeah.
So people have got the chance to binge watch rather than waiting for the week or the month.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. My next question was who's doing this well at the minute? You mentioned Wistia, also MailChimp as well. I mean, let's start with Wistia. Doing some really good content out there at the minute. We've been all over their stuff. Do you want to have a chat about that?
Yeah, sure. I guess the first time I was properly aware this was a thing was Wistia's series they did around producing video content and at different budget sizes. So I think that was 3 or 4 episodes. I remember just sitting and watching all of that back to back.
How long were they, that first series, can you remember?
They were decent length. They were proper 30-40 minute length episodes, and 4 or 5 of them, so you got a good couple of hours content at least. And that must be 2 years oldish now, coming up to, and they'd done that before they'd released their playbook that they've released recently, and they've obviously changed their whole product to go into that space. But I think that was the first time I was aware of a business purposely creating a entertainment-based video series, but also it was written for me as a person in marketing interested in video. I think that's the first time I came across it.
I remember you sending me the link, Ricky. It was called 1-10-100.
Yeah.
If any of the viewers want to Google that. And do you want to explain what that series is about? Really clever concept.
So they were launching Soapbox, which is their video plugin for doing one-to-one video like people do with like Vidyard-Go or Loom or whatever. Soapbox was their version of that. So they wanted to launch that, and what they did was film the launch of it, but from 3 different budget perspectives. They did a £1,000 video, a £10,000 video, and a £100,000 video. Brought in a video agency to work on all 3 of those. And I guess what I was trying to show is what the difference you can get in production quality and output is for your budget for people who maybe want to do that but maybe haven't had the opportunity or the budget to try it at the higher level. I think there's some really good comes from it. Like the Scrappy 1000 one, I think because you went to a big agency and just said you've got $1,000, which is like 100 times lower than their average production one. They had to get a bit creative with it, but they all turned out good. Like the budget didn't restrict the creative. Obviously it restricted the polish. But they were all equally as creative, and
it was interesting to see the outcome of all videos. If you watch the 1,000 to the 100,000, there wasn't a huge difference in the final product. You could see it if you look, but it wasn't huge. I just remember them cutting corners, and like for the lighting, they'd get white sheets and reflect it on, where the other one they'd have full prop, they'd have background staff, wardrobes. So it just proved to us that you don't need a huge budget.
Yeah.
The series they launched, I think it launched this week or recently, is directly similar to that £1,000 one, and it's all about low views, high impact. I think it's called. It's similar to what we talk about with inbound video, of trying to convert the traffic you've already got rather than focusing on trying to attract new viewers and new visitors, which I think that's where a lot of people start with video. Over the past year, when we've been onboarding clients into video, that's always the starting point of, in their mind, they've got that $100,000 ad that is going to suddenly go viral and attract every man and his dog to the company. But you might as well make a video off well under £1,000 budget, £100 per video even, and convert twice as many people on that page or that blog that's getting a few thousand visitors. Makes loads more impact.
I watched one of them today, Paul. You're right, it's called low impact, high impact,
low views, high impact.
I watched one on recruitment today. So what they're saying is there's a lot of people come to interviews not knowing what to expect. They're anxious, they're nervous, they're not the true self. So it's just a recruitment department putting out a small video. Could be a show around your office. They did a drone footage of where you park. So it's kind of a bit of an introduction. Meet the team before you get here, and it's really low budget. You could have someone going around, like Mel, our HR woman, going around with her iPhone saying, this is where you come in, these are the stairs you walk up, and it just, like you say, it's low volume but high impact. So I'm interested to watch the rest of the series on that. I've only seen the one so far.
Yeah, no, I've only watched a couple. I think what they've done super clever from their own marketing perspective with that, as well as I think a lot of people's barrier to entry with starting with video is, how are we going to produce the next Dollar Shave Club? How are we going to produce a video which tens of millions of people see? And the answer is, you're not going to do that. But that doesn't mean you don't have to do video. You can have big impacts on whatever your goals are with a few people seeing your video. Like, we don't need millions of people to see our stuff. We need a few really good people a month to see our stuff and like it and get in touch and convert. Like, that's worth a lot of money to us. We don't need millions of viewers. And I think they've done that really clever because it's interesting, but probably will get a lot of people started in doing video as well, which is obviously great for them for selling subscriptions to us. Yeah,
it's really exciting stuff as well. We had a brainstorming session yesterday. You can see everyone in the room getting excited about it. You can get really creative on this stuff.
Yeah.
So where do you see this going then? It's obviously not new, but a lot more people are finding out about it now. Where do you see it going in the business world?
I think we've gone from everyone knowing video was going to happen but not daring to like pull the trigger on it, to now I think that'll be the next thing that everybody's doing is just basic one person in front of a camera, page conversion videos. I think that's by the end of this year. I think if a website page doesn't have that on, you're falling behind.
Yeah.
I think it's saying to Mark, I was just saying at lunchtime when we were having a walk, that thing still astonishes me is how many people still aren't doing video. Even though all of the signs and the amount of presentations you go to around how it increases your conversion rate, all that stuff, it's still very slow adoption. I definitely think you're right, like that face to camera bit is massively picking up, and you're pretty much behind if you're in any advanced industry and don't have it. I think what might be quite good about episodic content in particular is it might actually get more video adoption because you don't have to be on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's still a lot of people's fear with traditional video stuff. Is it like loads of our video stuff, we're on all of our video stuff and we're quite comfortable with it now, but when we're talking to clients, they're not. It's a bit of a barrier. Whereas the stuff we're planning for episodic content we don't have to be in it. Like, you look at Wistia's one, Wistia in it a little bit in the background and a kind of showing them being part of the process. But the video is about the agency making the video. It's not about Wistia at all. It's about them. So I think that could help people get into video who don't want to be on camera but know they need to produce something. If we can create and not be the stars of it, that really helps. The stuff we've got planned for our own marketing this year, like, we're not going to be the stars of the video stuff, but it's going to help our goals. Like, that's a big plus. That doesn't mean you have to get on camera again and put all of that time and energy and resource into it.
I agree. I'm sure you do, Paul. A big blocker in our video sales process is MDs, marketing execs, directors just don't want to be on camera, do they? And it's kind of a bit of a blocker for us. So yeah, totally agree with it. Hopefully that'll change the game a little bit.
The other way is the other challenge as well of like, they'll do it because they know it's important. Yeah. But it becomes this big thing, and they're probably practicing it the night before, and it's like, I fluffed that line. Like,
how many times have we turned up to a shoot and you've got CEOs and stuff and they've scripted, they've got 3 pages of notes scripted, and the first thing we say to them is, look, just put them down and just freestyle it, be natural. And they freak out a little bit, don't they? But it's worst thing to do is read off a script. But yeah, good.
There's a reason top actors get paid so much.
It's unbelievable.
It's not doable, is it?
We've only just bought our own autocue system now, finally, where, again, we don't script it, we'll just bullet point to keep us on track. Because just remembering something like doing a product demo, it's just so difficult. Okay, who else? You mentioned MailChimp.
Yeah.
What MailChimp doing at the minute?
They've gone probably the biggest into this by some considerable distance, I think. So it's a little bit old, so I can't remember the exact stats, but they put an absolute ton of money into PPC. I think like 10x their usual spend. It was well into the millions, and didn't get the returns back from it they were wanting to. Yeah. And they took all of that extra money and basically opened their own studio, and are literally creating new content pretty much weekly now. So if you go on MailChimp Presents, it literally looks like Netflix. There must be, 14 shows. Some of them shows are one-offs, some of them have 20 episodes, so there's a lot of content on there. But it's all purely small business focused. So like, obviously that's what MailChimp aim at. So their persona is small businesses, and there's all sorts on there from there's quite some comedy and satire stuff on there through to documentaries about quite serious businesses. They've absolutely gone hell for leather on it, to be fair. So if you're looking for a good example, MailChimp's a good place to look.
What about, do you know any business stats on this? Well, obviously not getting ROI on the PPC. They put it into media. Has there been any outcome on that?
I think this is literally still like cutting edge stuff. So I think MailChimp must be 6 to 9 months into it. Right. And I don't know how they're going to. It's going to be hard for them to measure, very hard, because I imagine the process is going to be very slow. And I think the blog that they wrote does address that. This is a big market play for awareness and for affinity for people to know and love MailChimp. Yeah. And by the way, one day you might be choosing a mail provider and you'll choose us. I think it's more that play. Yeah. So I think they'll be looking at ROI over 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Rather than from PPC, which I guess you can measure.
Yeah, fair play to
within a month.
I think it plays into the delighting your customers as well. I know Emily sent us a stat this morning with a big survey showing over half of people trusting their friends on word of mouth and their social network more than Google reviews even, or marketing materials. Yeah, word of mouth becoming more and more important. Like that's the flywheel concept, isn't it, from a couple of years ago? But
definitely. And I guess if you're that person referring something on, like how many people share a product demo of MailChimp video? Like probably no one. How many people watch, if they find it funny, like the trade show series that's on MailChimp Presents, like saying, oh, we do trade shows, isn't it funny how they like portray it and show all the panic and blah, blah, blah that goes into it. Like that's going to get shared between people, and then like I say, who doesn't need email marketing services at some point in their business? Like, so they're going to get in front of much more of their personas via people either referring or even just enjoying the content and passing it on, versus just traditional I guess, dry product demos and stuff. I'm not saying you don't need those things, you absolutely do, but it's just a different type of marketing, isn't it?
I think they need to be delivered in an episodic way as well.
Mm.
Though, like HubSpot Academy certs, you got 4 hours of video, but there's never one more than 10, maybe 15 minutes max.
Yeah.
So that you can not feel like you're studying for hours on end.
Yeah.
I know we're doing it with our how-to videos for using Acello and HubSpot and stuff. It's always short, it's always a few minutes.
Yeah.
Keeps it bite-sized as well. And they're not, like you say, they're not the things that you'll share, but they're delighting you in using the product. And then when you do something entertaining, like MailChimp Presents, then you're already in that ecosystem. And then there's the tech as well, when you, whatever you're using, if you're using Wistia or Vidyard or HubSpot, you can see actually they've watched these videos, so they're into video, so send them that one and ask them to share it, and they probably will.
Yeah. We keep mentioning the word storytelling. I was speaking to Razza, one of our writers, yesterday, asking for some tips on presenting. You can go to a presentation or go to Inbound all day and they'll just throw stats up and you switch off. But you get the odd presenter will tell, say, 3 stories in his presentation. You're totally engaged, aren't you? And that's the power of storytelling. That's what I love about the episodic stuff. Just keeping the viewer engaged. So.
No, for sure. Like we all know that from any copy you write, any video you produce, if you can... I guess make it personal or tell a story about something that represents the persona that you're trying to target. How much more captivating it is and relatable it is.
The psychology of it as well. It's I don't know if it's psychology or not, but it's great. It's hooking in on an emotion and making you want to watch the next one. And if you get an emotional reaction out of the viewer, they're gonna it's gonna make it more memorable anyway, isn't it? Even if it's curiosity or it's whet the appetite or something that just makes them want to watch the next episode.
So agree with you, Paul, earlier. It's kind of like the early adopters are taking this stuff on now. Your Wistas, your MailChimps, other companies are going to start coming through once you can start prove ROI and things like that. We're on it now. We're producing, we're actually mapping it out. We're going to start producing different series of episodic stuff, so watch out for that over the next sort of 6 months. But if people do want to get started, Ricky, have you got any tips for us, all the viewers?
I guess Google Brand Affinity Playbook. That's the literally the book on this, the web book on this that Wistia produced 3 or 4 months ago. Like I said, they changed their product so you can actually host episodic content on Wistia, and you've got a player that's like I guess like Netflix, the big sort of video at the top of the screen with the things, and if you hover over it, it shows you the episode starting and all that sort of stuff. So they've kind of done this pre-built player, but around that they're calling this movement kind of brand affinity. So it's about making content that will make people love your brand. So they've done a really good I guess pillar page, ebook, whatever you want to call it. So I'd definitely start by Googling that and having a good old read. It's obviously got some videos in as well. And the important part of that, I think, is they've got this framework in it. It's a framework we've been using over the last couple of weeks to map some of this stuff. And it's around, I guess, like anything, you could probably jump into these with a million good ideas, but it's how do you make sure it hits your goals and how do you make sure it stays on track. So they break it down into 3 things. You've got to pick your audience, pick an insight, and pick a theme. And we've been through that. So by audience, they're looking at not just marketing managers, but what's the subculture within marketing managers that you're particularly going to aim at. So Wistia's one, when you read this guide, theirs is around that 110-100 framework, and they say, look, we want to target marketing people who really want to try big video. That's their subculture of marketing people. The insight is it's those people, but people who can't afford to do it. So what's the but? So we want to target these people, but they don't have the resources to try it themselves. What can this video give them? And then the theme is how you're actually going to achieve it. So they're going to achieve it by showing you literally what the difference between all 3 of these budget types are. So when you put it together, suddenly you're saying, we want to produce something for marketing managers who are interested in big video but haven't had the opportunity or budget to do it. And we're going to help them by showing them exactly what the budget gets. And then they've got a framework there to go, whatever ideas we come up with, it has to hit this brief, I guess. And we found that super useful when we've been going through it, doing our content, just to give some of your ideas purpose or give it a starting point rather than just jumping in and going, hey, let's go and shoot this. It'll be really funny or engaging. It's still got to have have a purpose, and that's really useful.
Yeah, it's I'm just on their website now, wistia.com/about/brand infinity marketing. So get on there. It's such a really valuable resource we've been using. Okay, good stuff. Anything else on episodic you'd like to discuss, guys? Anything else you've seen out there?
I think we were looking I think you asked for any ideas of people who are doing it well and businesses doing it well before. I think if you look for Red Wing on YouTube, the shoe company, it's the one we looked at with.
Really clever.
They make some stunning stuff. It's probably quite high budget, but they do some really run-of-the-mill stuff as well, budget-wise. But it all works as a entertaining YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Builds brand affinity because it sort of... The documentary is what about their product in real use, like miners wearing them, people working in a quarry, people in a dockyard, that type of thing. Yeah. But they've probably got as many people who are our persona, who work in marketing officers, who wear Red Wing boots. And they're shot in such a way that it's just like cool stories about this little fishing village or whatever, where people are unloading the crates every day, and Red Wing sponsored them. But there's these stunning visual documentaries that are 5 or 6 minutes long, and they release a few of those a year, and that's, I think, what you've been talking about with just giving something entertaining that'll delight people and make it shareable. Is that Andrew letting us know where he is?
No, he's saying carry on.
That's good to know.
He's doing a good job.
Carry on. There's just one that stands out for me from the top of my head about doing something. It's not about the shoes per se, and it's not even at... I don't think it's even aimed at the old dock worker who's 60 years old, because
they're not watching that.
They're not watching that, no. Yeah. It's aimed probably at the likes of me, who they're trying to get away from wearing whatever.
When you sent me that stuff over, I remember watching a couple on YouTube, and it went down to the actual factory workers. They've been working in the factory for 50 years on these big sewing machines, stitching and sewing the shoes, and they were telling their stories out when they were younger and how the industry's changed. So it's all about their real emotional stories.
Yeah, I know the one you mean, about the staff.
It makes you want to watch it more, and some of these are quite emotional, some of these stories they're telling. You can see how skillful they were, and you can see the hands when they,
When you break it down as well, I don't think the budget is that high on them. It's a good camera with some stunning lake or whatever on the ones in the factory, just some nice lighting, and then talking head with a mic and 3 lights like any other documentary.
Absolutely. So let's say we filmed, let's say 4 series, short series. We've filmed 4, we've done it. We've uploaded it somewhere, Wistia, for example, or Vidyard. Any tips for sharing this? Is it just your generic slice it up, share it on social, or have you got something?
You probably need to kind of seed it with some paid promotion, I imagine, if you want to really get some traction. And it should be stuff that does pretty well on social, because I guess all you're selling them is entertainment or insight or education. There's no... And there should never be any sell in it. So I guess all you're showing is it's like your way you sold onto a film. You're showing them a trailer, and would you like to watch more of this? So I'd guess take a look, and there's some pretty good blog posts on, if you work back of how Netflix launch a series. They do the little teasers on social, and then they do big paid promotions on social ads and stuff. I guess that's a pretty solid framework to use. Obviously take advantage of your own mail list and all this sort of stuff as well.
That's your version of Netflix recommending feature though, isn't it? You can email it, or even maybe direct message your followers and things, if you can work out enough about your personas, who's going to be most interested. Ask them to share it and watch.
The good bit is you should get some virility from it, like if you've nailed that subculture well enough in that audience, you don't need many of them to share it on whatever forums or subreddits or whatever it is that they're interested in for it to get a little bit of traction. So it's probably just nailing down the audience and thinking how to get into those ones.
Would you go down the YouTube paid route?
Yeah, exactly. That's a kind of tailor-made thing for it, really, isn't it? Here's a preview, click to watch the rest of it. Yeah, for sure. It seems to make a lot of sense. You've got the vast majority of the ad made, haven't you? It's just cutting it down into a short, snappy edit. So why wouldn't you?
I'd bring a note to that of not to cause any confusion with just putting it on YouTube
Yeah.
and paying to put it and shout about it on YouTube. I think you do need the proper analytical power that you get with a Vidyard or a Wistia type platform.
Okay.
And you want them on your site, ideally, don't you? I guess if you're paying all that money to build brand affinity, you don't want people linking to YouTube channels and letting YouTube get all of the credit for that.
We speak about this a lot.
Yeah, we do. But no, it's definitely a point worth raising.
So
And
go on.
I was going to say, just quickly to rewind on Paul's point about the shoes as well. I think a point we kind of forgotten at the start of this is, I guess, when we normally talk about tactics and inbound and stuff, we kind of default a little bit to B2B because it tends to be what this sort of audience is. But look in the B2C world, and this has been done and absolutely smashed for a number of years. You take like Red Bull or somebody like that who's absolute masters at this, and I guess they've done the huge sort of dropping someone out of what the hell was it, a rocket or something in space. Like that is the exact same thing.
Sponsoring a football club and Formula One cars. It's
even down
brand
to sponsoring skateboarders and snowboarders when their journey of being skint in a van to suddenly superstars and billionaires.
But go on their media channel on their website, and it's full of take skateboarding, full of like documentaries or series about people making it in that industry or whatever it is. So there's some massive examples in B2C for sure. So that's a good point, actually.
I think it was something else I read this week. It's quite an old phrase now, but P2P. We're getting rid of B2B and B2C, and it's just P2P marketing, person to person. Just you're marketing I'm marketing to you at 8:00 tonight on your Twitter feed, alongside Red Wing or Red Bull. And we're just selling whatever, a software or whatever it is for work. It doesn't matter. You've got the same cap on all day, haven't you?
Absolutely.
You're not in switch off, clocked out, I'm off work. It's
5 o'clock. Don't sell me anything to do with work.
No, it doesn't work like that, does it?
Yeah, they all go home with their mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters, lots of people.
Exactly.
Cool. Really enjoyed that episode. I think it's something we're all interested in. I want to thank you both. Andrew,
thank you, Mark.
Today, so you missed out on that one.
You did.
But never mind. Please let us know what you think of these episodes. Please like, share, subscribe. Any comments you've got, reach out, and take care. We'll see you again next week.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks. Bye.